There's a moment in automotive engineering where brilliance becomes a problem, not because these cars were failures, but because they succeeded too well. So well that governments rewrote laws, racing organizations tore up rulebooks, and entire countries said, "This cannot exist here." No recalls, no safety scandals, just machines so extreme that the world around them couldn't keep up. This is what happens when power meets consequence. Here are 10 cars that paid the ultimate price for being too good at what they do. 1. Nissan GT-RR 34. The legend America couldn't have. The R34 GT-R arrived in 1999 with a promise: domination. Its RB26D ETT engine was officially rated at 276 horsepower. That number was a lie. A gentleman's agreement among Japanese manufacturers to keep the government happy. Everyone knew the truth. Dyno runs showed 330, 350, sometimes 380 horsepower straight from the factory. And when tuners got their hands on it, the 2JZ might be legendary, but the RB26 was untouchable. Stock internals handling 500, 600, 700 horsepower without breaking a sweat. American enthusiasts saw this beast tearing up Japanese circuits, annihilating supercars twice its price. They wanted one, desperately. But there was a problem. Nissan never certified the R34 for the American market. No crash testing. No emissions compliance. The process would cost tens of millions of dollars. For a car that would only be sold for a few years? The math didn't work, so the US government made importing one illegal. Not because it was unsafe, not because it polluted more, because Nissan didn't want to spend the money to prove it didn't. For 25 years, Americans watched from across the ocean as a legend they couldn't touch. Gray market importers tried. The government crushed them, seized cars, destroyed them, made examples. But the enthusiasts didn't give up. They waited, they planned, they counted down the days. The 25-year import law finally expired for the 1999 models. The R34 GTR is now legal in America. Not because the government changed its mind, but because time ran out on their ban. The car that America banned for being too expensive to certify is now worth $200,000 and up. And every single one that crosses the border proves what we knew all along. Some legends are worth the wait. 2. Porsche 959. Too expensive to crash. Porsche unveiled something that shouldn't have existed. The 959 had sequential twin turbos. Revolutionary. All-wheel drive with electronic control. Tire pressure monitoring. Decades before it was standard. Adaptive suspension. Composite body panels. 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.6 seconds. Top speed. 197 miles per hour in 1986. This wasn't a car. It was a technological statement. We can build whatever we want. But America had rules. To sell a car in the US, you needed crash test certification, emission certification, DOT approval, standard procedure. Except Porsche only built 292 total 959s. To crash test properly, they'd need to destroy 4 cars, at a production cost of $500,000 and up per car. That's $2 million minimum just to satisfy American regulators. For a car they were already losing money on. Porsche looked at the numbers, then at the American market, then back at the numbers. They said no. Not, maybe later. Not, we'll figure it out. Just, America cannot have this car. Even Bill Gates couldn't legally drive his 959 on American roads. He bought one anyway. It sat in a customs warehouse for 13 years. Finally, in 1999, the show or display law passed, largely because of the 959. 3. Dodge Viper, the car that punished stupidity. Dodge built a car with a simple philosophy. If you can't handle it, that's your problem. 8.0 liters. V10. No traction control, no stability control, no anti-lock brakes on early models, no forgiveness. Just 400 horsepower going to the rear wheels through a manual transmission. This wasn't a car you drove, it was a car you fought, and people crashed. Not because the car was defective, because drivers thought they were better than they were. Track day instructors started refusing to teach in Vipers. Insurance companies jacked up rates to astronomical levels. Some wouldn't insure them at all. The Viper was never banned from tracks. That's a myth. But certain tracks quietly recommended that novice drivers choose something else. and some insurance policies for track days specifically excluded Vipers. Not because of the car, because of the ego it attracted. The Viper died. Not from bans, from a new side curtain airbag requirements that would have cost millions to engineer. Dodge looked at the investment, looked at the sales numbers, and pulled the plug. The Viper didn't fail because it was banned. It failed because in 2017, the world decided cars should protect you from yourself, and the Viper was never about that. 4. Toyota Supra MK. 4. The engine that wouldn't die. Let me be clear, the Supra was never banned from racing. That's internet mythology. Completely false. But the real story is better. The Supra MK4 came with the 2JZG-TE engine, 320 horsepower. Not impressive by 1990s supercar standards. But then tuners discovered something incredible. The 2JZ could handle 1,000 horsepower and more on stock internals. Stock internals. No other production engine in history could take that kind of abuse. The block, the crank, the rods, all of it. Designed with tolerances so precise, so over-engineered, that Toyota accidentally created the most tunable engine ever made. Drag racing, road racing, street racing. Modified Supras started appearing everywhere. And they weren't just competitive, they were dominant. Racing organizations never banned the Supra, but they did start creating new classes. Weight penalties, restrictor plates, boost limits. Not because the Supra was cheating, but because Toyota had built something so fundamentally sound that modified Supras made purpose-built race cars look like toys. The Supra didn't get banned, it got segregated because it made racing boring. 5. Bugatti Chiron Supersport, faster than physics allows. The Chiron Supersport can do 304 miles per hour. We know this because Andy Wallace actually did it in 2019. But if you buy one, your top speed is electronically limited to 273 miles per hour. Why? Tires. At 300 miles per hour and beyond, the forces are devastating. A tire rotating at those speeds experiences 3,500 G-forces and more at the contact patch. Temperatures exceeding 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Centrifugal forces trying to tear the rubber apart. Michelin spent years developing tires that could survive one run at 304 miles per hour. Those tires cost $42,000 per set. And they're only good for one attempt. So Bugatti built in the electronic limiter. Not because governments required it, because no tire manufacturer could guarantee safety beyond 273 miles per hour for repeated use. The car is faster than materials science. If you buy a Chiron Supersport 300 Plus, only 30 were made for $3.9 million each. Bugatti will let you attempt the top speed, but only at their private test track, with their engineers present, on their custom tires. After their safety inspection, the car isn't banned, the road is. 6. McLaren F1, too perfect for racing, 1992 to 1998. Gordon Murray built the greatest road car ever made. Naturally aspirated V12, 3-seat layout, gold-lined engine bay, 240 miles per hour top speed. It held the production car speed record for 13 years. The F1 GTR racing version was too good. 1995 Le Mans, 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 13th place. Against purpose-built prototypes, with a car derived from a road vehicle. Racing organizations panicked. They didn't ban it directly. They rewrote regulations to make it uncompetitive. Weight penalties, restrictor plates on the intake, ride height requirements, fuel tank capacity limits. Each rule specifically targeted the F1's advantages. By 1997, the F1 GTR was uncompetitive not because it got slower, but because the rulebook changed around it. Only 106 F1s were ever built. They now sell for $20 million and up. The McLaren F1 was so good at racing that racing organizations changed the rules to stop it. 7. Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, the car that's too loud to exist. The Aventador SVJ has a 6.5-liter naturally aspirated V12. It redlines at 8,700 RPM, no turbos, no hybrid system, just 759 horsepower of screaming Italian rage. Modern racetracks have noise limits. In the UK, 105 decibels maximum. Some tracks as low as 90 decibels. Laguna Seca in California, 90 decibels on most days. The Aventador SVJ easily exceeds 110 decibels at full throttle. The SVJ isn't banned from tracks, but it fails noise tests. Track day organizers have to restrict which sessions it can run, charge massive premiums for high noise days, sometimes turn it away entirely. The last naturally aspirated V12 supercar is too loud for the places it was designed to run. Not because it's broken, because the world got quieter while Lamborghini stayed loud. Production ended in 2022, replaced by the Revuelto, a hybrid. The SVJ was the end of an era, and some tracks made sure it knew. 8. TVR, Cerberus Speed. 12. Banned by its own creator TVR, decided to build the fastest car in the world. Take 2 TVR Speed 6 engines. Join them together. Create a 7.7-liter V12, over 800 horsepower. No traction control. No ABS. No electronic aids of any kind. TVR's CEO, Peter Wheeler, took it for a drive. And then he made a decision that would become legendary. This car is too dangerous to sell. Not too dangerous for amateurs. Not too dangerous without training. Just too dangerous. Period. Wheeler genuinely believed that someone would die in this car, and he didn't want that blood on his hands. So he canceled the entire production run. Only one was ever completed, the project car. It was sold to a private buyer years later. The TVR Speed 12 is the only car in history banned by its own manufacturer for being too powerful. Not by governments, not by racing bodies, by the people who built it. 9. Koenigsegg. Jesko Absolute faster than infrastructure? The Jesko Absolute is designed for one thing: maximum velocity. No rear wing, streamlined body. 1,600 horsepower on E85 fuel. Theoretical top speed: 330 miles per hour and beyond. There are fewer than 10 places on Earth where that's possible. VW's Era Leschen test track in Germany. Nevada highways, specific stretches. Bonneville salt flats. Not ideal for cars. Maybe a couple of abandoned runways. That's it. Countries haven't banned the Jesko, but they've made driving it at full speed functionally impossible. No public roads allow 300 miles per hour and beyond. Most private tracks lack the length. Insurance won't cover it. Tire manufacturers won't certify tires for that speed. The car exists in a performance range that modern infrastructure simply doesn't accommodate. Koenigsegg will likely never officially test the Jesko's top speed. Not because they can't, because there's nowhere safe to do it. The Jesko Absolute is a car from the future trapped in the present. 10. Mercedes-Benz. CLK GTR, the race car you couldn't race. FIA GT Championship required manufacturers to build 25 road-legal versions of their race cars. Mercedes built the CLK GTR 6.9-liter V12. 604 horsepower. $1.5 million. Carbon fiber monocoque. Sequential gearbox. It was built to satisfy racing requirements. But many countries refuse to register it for road use. Too low for speed bumps. Visibility issues. Excessive noise. Unclear crash safety standards. So you had a race car built to be street legal. That couldn't legally be driven on streets. In the countries where its owners lived, 25 were required, 25 were built, maybe 5 were ever regularly driven. Most CLK GTRs spent their lives in climate-controlled garages, at private track days, or as museum pieces. These cars share one thing: they succeeded too well. The R34 was too good to certify. The 959 was too expensive to crash. The Viper was too honest about its violence. The Supra's engine was too unbreakable. The Chiron was faster than tires could handle. The McLaren F1 made racing boring. The Aventador SVJ was too loud for the modern world. The Speed 12 terrified its own creator. The Jesko is faster than roads exist for. The CLK GTR was too extreme to be street legal. When a machine becomes more capable than the world around it, the world doesn't adapt, it restricts. So here's the question: were these cars banned because they were dangerous? Or because they reminded us that we're not as in control as we think we are? Which one would you risk everything to drive? And would the consequences be worth it?